I have a very valuable piece of paper here tonight. This is one woman's story. I'm very familiar with hers because it's mine. But also this piece of paper has a very important date on it. January 13th, 1991. Some of you might not have been around then, but it was a very important date for me because it was the date that everything changed for me. So I just want to tell you about a lovely man named Keith. I met Keith at a parachute center in the UK, and he was nice. I went to do a charity jump. I was going to do a parachute jump for charity, and he was the instructor. He had done 6,000 parachute jumps, and he was very hot. Okay, he was a little creepy, I thought, but I ignored that. I felt that creepy feeling in the gut that said, stay away from this guy. So I dated him because I liked a little danger in my life. So over the next few years, I did 603 more parachute jumps, and I felt so safe with this man in the air. We had a wonderful life together. We traveled around Europe, we jumped out of airplanes, landed on cow poop. It was great. So we decided to get married, and of course we had to parachute into our wedding, right? So the thing was, we were at the door of the airplane together, and we were just about to jump out, and I looked at him with love, and he put his hand around my back, and then he kind of pulled the pin out of my parachute and held it up, and then he pushed me out. The pin is very important to a parachute, and as I fell to what I thought was my death, I thought, I'm going to kill him if I'm still alive when I land. So I went over to him when I landed, and he said, your face. He said, your face, it was so hysterical. I was just kidding. So the marriage went better after that. For a while. It was great for a while. We had a wonderful life. But every once in a while, he made these little mean jokes. You know those ones where someone makes a nasty little joke and then says, just kidding. You know those ones. You're so oversensitive. Can't you take a joke? So I just thought, okay, I'm just a little bit oversensitive. Maybe just because I'm foreign, I'm Canadian, don't know British sense of humor. And then he made these really nasty comments sometimes. I had a pap smear because I thought that they thought I had cervical cancer. And he said, you know, I really hope you die from cancer. And I got a little pissed off. And I went quiet, gave him the silent treatment. And he got mad at me because I wouldn't talk to him. And I told him why I was upset. And he said, I didn't say that. Are you crazy? Something is wrong with you. Wow, you are nuts, but I still love you. So I asked for advice about all the different things. He loved me, he hated me, he loved me, he hated me. And I didn't know what I trusted, and I thought maybe I just wasn't a good wife. Maybe I didn't make him feel safe enough. He started drinking a lot, and then he said it was my fault because I made him angry. And so he drank, and then I felt it was my fault. He was an alcoholic. I keep looking at this because I remember the date. I love you, he said. I want to support you. And I told him that someday I wanted to write a book, and he laughed, and he said, let me spare you the humiliation of the failure that you'd have. You don't have what it takes, but I love you anyway, my little failure. Just kidding. So the marriage continued until January 13th, 1991. And we were standing at the top of a stairway, and he reached out for me, and I knew, looking in his eyes, because he'd had a lot to drink that day, and he reached out for me, and I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that he wanted to push me down those stairs. And he reached over to me and he put his arm around me and he said, "Don't push me. You know it's your fault." So that night I didn't sleep. I lay there and I wished to die. I wished myself dead. I didn't know how to survive with the up, the down, the happy, the sad, the crazy, the normal. And I wished myself dead so hard that I ended up giving myself a panic attack. And I all of a sudden had sharp pains and I thought, yay, it's working, I'm dying. And I fell off the bed with a thump, but he was snoring, he didn't hear me. And I lay there wishing I was dead. And then I got bored waiting. And then I thought maybe I could kill him. I said, there are a lot of skydiving accidents. You know, nobody would know. Maybe I could pull the pin and nobody would know. Or maybe I could poison the scrambled eggs that he makes fun of my scrambled eggs. He says they're lumpy Canadian eggs. So then, that was the date that I thought it changed everything, because I was lying there considering murdering somebody. That is not me. I am not a person that kills somebody. I thought I have to leave. So I left that day and I went to a women's shelter, like Kelowna Women's Shelter. And I said, I'm embarrassed. I was not abused. I had no physical abuse. He never hit me. And they told me about verbal abuse. They told me about gaslighting. They told me about passive, aggressive, shitty gaslighting. And I started understanding that those facades cover a very angry person, and the anger leaks out of them like little poison bullets that punched holes in any self-esteem that I had. So I also read a book called Blink, which still impacts me. It was about thin slicing. And it was about the fact that this man watched thousands of videos of couples, and he could identify within 3 minutes whether that couple would get a divorce and it would escalate into violence. And it was based on the tiny words, the rolling of the eyes, those little just kidding comments. Verbal abuse can cause damage, and I didn't understand that. So I got that divorce. It took me 5 years because I had to wait him out because he kept blocking it. And the thing is, when it came through, I celebrated by going out on a date with a man named George. And we were driving to a restaurant, and George got lost. Not a problem. But I suggested that I call the restaurant to change our reservation time. And he made a little joke. He said a little joke about controlling women who don't know when to shut up. I said, stop that car. I got out of that car, I called a cab, and I sent him on. And I just want, whenever I forget, I look at that number, that date, and I remember that words have meaning. And please don't ever not trust your gut, because that gut that was telling me he was a little creepy that first day was trying to be my friend. Please trust your gut, everyone. It is your friend. Thank you.